Okay, number 11 is where you want to solve a trig equation. Now you have to pay close attention to the interval that it says, because that's going to tell you how you want to write your answers. So because it says from 0 to 2 pi, that means you do not want to have your answer in degrees. You need to use radians to get the problem correct. So if you answered it with degrees, you'll get a point taken off because the answer is supposed to be in radians instead. Okay, so we want to pay close attention to that. Now the problem itself will be one where it's either already factored for you like it is here, or it might be one where you have to pull out a common factor and factor it. Now either way, the ending result is you're going to end up with something factored, and you want to set it equal to 0, so that way you can set each one of them individually equal to 0. Now this one's already set up for you. You don't need to multiply it all out. You don't want to do that, because since it's already factored, you can just go ahead and set each one equal to 0 as is. Okay, so we're going to do 2 cosine theta minus square root of 3 equals 0. And then we're going to do 2 sine squared minus 1 equals 0. And then we're just going to solve each of these two individually. Okay, so first we'll do this one. When we solve for cosine, you're going to add square root of 3 and divide by 2. So cosine theta will equal positive square root of 3 over 2. This one here, you're going to add 1 to both sides. So sine squared is going to equal positive 1. Now we're not done yet. We want to keep going to solve for sine theta. You want to take the square root of both sides. And when you do, you're going to get plus or minus. Whenever you take the square root, don't forget the plus or minus, because that's going to give you additional answers. So in actuality, what we have is we get actually two different equations. So in the end, what we'll end up doing is we're actually going to set all three of these. We're going to solve all three of these individually by looking at the unit circle. Okay, so plus or minus 1 end up giving us two different equations from this original one. So we really have three different things that we're going to solve. Now when you solve this, you're looking for what angle on the unit circle will give you an x value, because cosine refers to an x value on the unit circle, which theta will give you an x value of square root of 3 over 2. Now the first one is going to be in the first quadrant. So the first quadrant will be 30 degrees or pi over 6. Now the other quadrant, you have to consider the entire unit circle when you're doing this. The square root of 3 over 2 is an x value that also appears in the fourth quadrant, and that's going to be at the angle of 11 pi over 6. So at 11 pi over 6, the x value is also square root of 3 over 2. Now for these, we're going to look at the unit circle for these as well. For sine theta equals 1, that's going to occur at 90 degrees or pi over 2. So theta, there's only going to be one place where sine theta equals positive 1. That's only going to occur at pi over 2. Sine theta equals negative 1. That's going to occur at the bottom of the unit circle all the way down there at 270 degrees or 3 pi over 2. So theta is equal to 3 pi over 2. Now when you write your answer, you'll just put all these on the answer blank. Now you don't have to worry about putting these in any specific order. If you just list these two and then these two afterwards, that's perfectly fine. But all four answers must appear on your answer line.